Hello, fellow punchers. You're very welcome to the weekly Bookie Basher show, where I'll be joined shortly by the Stig. On the show this week, as always, we find out from him what tickled his fancy in the past week, and he'll be giving his selections for the week. And first, I'd like to say I said I might have a surprise. So the surprise is I've 2 tickets for Saturday for Fairyhouse and 2 tickets for Sunday, and they're not just ordinary tickets. I purchased these myself. They're not complimentary or anything. I had a pretty decent month of November, and my late mother used to always say years ago, when you have a little bit of luck like that, just share it out. It's no harm at all. It's a free ticket, free program, €5 free bet, a drink, which is a pint of Bulmers, I believe, and a food voucher. So 2 for Saturday. Put in the comments who would like to go, and tomorrow evening I'll pick a winner. And only say if you're going that you will be going, because you need to be there by 11:30 on Saturday morning and 11:30 on Sunday to get the tickets off me. That's something I wanted to do in a while. Was going to do a free bet, so I decided to go this route instead. First, I'd like to look back at two races last week.
Ahead of Jiving Jerry, Lady Rita, Rebellious Gale and Port Storm away from the final flight, and it's Jungle Pros, the leader from Lord Erskine on the inside, who's making the favourite fight every step of the way, but it's Jungle Pros and Jack Kennedy now racing on a couple of lengths clear. Jungle Pros is glowing for Jack Kennedy and Gordon Elliott as this mare continues to clean up. Lord Erskine second, then Bodie Satfer well clear.
She won of ratings of 85, 97, 109 and 125, and is now pushed up a further £12 to 137, and is entered next Saturday week in Navan in a 100,000 race. So I'll have to go, I think, that day. The second one it's a sort of a bus horse. We backed it in Cheltenham in March at 33 to 1, and it finished 4th in the Albert Bartlett.
But the 17th and final fence, which was never really in doubt, because on his chasing debut, he's been nothing short of terrific today. Very, very clean, good round of jumping. He looks as though there's loads of petrol still left in the tank. And Ballygriffin Cottage, the latest one to put his name down on what may well turn out to be a day to remember at Haydock here. We've had a stunning.
That's one I was looking forward to running. It was up against Beauport, which would be a next bus horse as well, but rated 148. That was a very pleasing performance, so I want to get that horse on the bus. So there's 2 of my horses in the past week. I'd like to ask the Stig at this point what tickled his fancy in the past week.
So this time of the year is very exciting for race goers and race fans, because the big horses begin to come out. And the first horse that tickled my fancy from the weekend was Nicky Henderson's well-touted Lucia. She won her first start over hurdles in emphatic style, travelling strongly throughout to secure her first win over Timber. And I think you know when Nicky has a good one, because the money comes late and heavy, and it did so for this mare. It was the same at Constitution Hill last year in Sandown. The money came late and heavy, and again it proved that he's a well above average horse. This horse won with her ears pricked, and I think there's plenty left in the tank after the race. The Mare's Novice this year in Cheltenham is heating up to be a lovely race. The second horse that tickled my fancy was in the 2:15 on Saturday in Goran Park, where Calanisi Star for Oliver McKiernan really showed gutsy battling qualities when he beat Pink in the Park, which is a nice horse for Willie Mullins. This horse beat Monbeg Park by 16 lengths in a bumper last season. Monbeg Park has gone on since to finish second behind Affordable Fury in Galway in a maiden hurdle. And if you can remember back to American Mike's race the weekend, Affordable Fury looked to have his measure when he fell at the last. So that form seems to be stacking up. So I think this Calanisi Star could be a decent animal for Oliver McKiernan. The next horse that tickled my fancy was in the 12:50 in Navan on Sunday, and it was Grange Clare West. Now, this lad I thought was absolutely awesome on the weekend. Townend dropped him in, getting him to drop the bit. And for a horse to finish as strong as he did in Navan up the hill, this horse must have a serious engine. I thought he was ultra impressive. If you had to crab him, you would look at maybe his jumping. He's kind of unorthodox. He crabs at some of his hurdles, but as expected with a novice, that's going to improve as the season goes on. He looks a big, rangy type. He's a big animal. He looks like something that maybe might feature in a Bartlett, but I think he might have the class for something like the Ballymore. An eye-catcher in that race was my trump card for Gordon Elliott. I thought he looked like he was just learning on the job, and it looked like his instructions were basically get the horse around and give him a good experience. Two honourable mentions for this week would have to be obviously Constitution Hill and Lahon Presse, who strengthened their credentials for Cheltenham this week. We talked a few weeks ago about which camp I would be in for the Champion Hurdle, and after last weekend in Newcastle, I think I'll certainly be flying the Constitution Hill flag. It seems as if he's passing the torch, or as if Honeysuckle will be passing the torch to him, but we'll have to see how she performs in the Hatton's Grace on Sunday in Navan.
A further question for the Stig. The big guns, a lot of big guns are out the weekend in Fairyhouse, and who are you most looking forward to at the weekend?
So if this weekend does not get you excited, I don't think racing is your game. There is some superstars on display the weekend, and I'm really excited to see them. Not from a betting point of view, but just to actually see where they're at this point in the season, with an eye to looking at Cheltenham, of course, in the future. So the two horses on Saturday, I'm going to focus on Sandown first, are obviously going to be John Bon and Shishkin. John Bon running in the King Henry VIII. Obviously put in an exemplary round on his debut, so just looking to see will he back that up and win as impressive as he did the first time. The second horse that's going to tickle my fancy and that I'm going to keep a close eye on is Shishkin in the Tingle Creek, if the ground turns up soft enough for him. He obviously blotted his copybook in Cheltenham last year in the Champion Chase and didn't raise a gallop, and you could tell from flag fall last year that he wasn't at the races, so it'll be interesting to see will he bounce back. The only other horse then that really tickles my fancy on Saturday, and he'd be captain of my team, he's the horse that gets me most excited when I think about the season ahead, is Facile Vega in the 2 Mile Maiden Hurdle in Fairyhouse on Saturday. This horse last year did everything in all the bumpers. He was ultra impressive across the year in every meeting he was at, so he's one horse that I'm really excited to see the weekend. On Sunday then, there's a few unknown horses that I'm looking forward to, and the first one is Lossiemouth, who's running in the Juvenile Hurdle in the 12:25 in Fairyhouse on Sunday. It's a grade 3. This horse comes from France with a hefty reputation, so I'm looking forward to seeing what Willie Mullins has done with him. The other horse that is an unknown quantity is Chapeau du Soleil in the Bumper. Now, I probably butchered his name, but he's a horse that is also coming with a really big reputation as probably one of Mullins's bumper horses for Cheltenham, so I'll definitely be keeping a close eye on him. And then the other one is the Royal Bond. I'll be keeping a close eye then to Marine Nationale and Champ Kiley. The two of those horses I think are high class horses, and it's going to be very hard to split them. But it's definitely going to be a race that's going to be a cracker, and the finish you all obviously have some good horses in behind as well, but they're the two main horses that I'm looking at in those races.
Tomorrow there's a couple of horses that I was following. The first one is at the 2:35 at Exeter, is Galop De Chasse, or De Chasse. It's a French one. It's for a trainer that's doing pretty well lately for us, is Venetia Williams. But this caught my eye the last time when it was second to a horse that we tipped and backed, Gunsight Ridge, and it ran on. It wasn't too busy now, to be honest, but it ran on very well after the last, I thought, and it handled the track very well. It's only a 6-year-old, rated 124. It's only beaten a couple of lengths. That was by a good horse. So that's a 5-to-1 shot there. We could go a pint each way in that tomorrow. Tricky enough day tomorrow. I found it difficult. Now Shake 'em Up Harry, Shake 'em Up Harry. Decent horse as well. Last seen running when it was third, staying on third, but it beat Tyrant rivals that it was in the Red Rum Chase last April. Now it's a decent horse, but I just thought maybe with the running or a belt at Galopin de Chasse or de Chasse might be a good each way selection. Ben Pauling is going very well this year. He's got a great start to the year. Shake 'em Up Harry, 8 turning 9. I thought we might go with the younger horse. And then there's a long distance chase It's 3 miles 6.5. I thought they're Favori de Sivola for the Jane Williams. Wait, let's see where I had that written down, haven't I? It's 4 for 11 over fences, and it won first twice. It ran last year, and it had a good run the last day. Well, not a good run, but a pipe opener. But it won last year for 109 and 115. It's still off 115 after going up to 121 and 120. She's in better form than she was actually last year. And I thought that at a price of 13 to 2 there, that we could go a pint each way on that. And then there's 12:40, which was probably the first race I should have started with, a horse that I tried to get on the bus the last time, but it was Valsheda. I think this is a little horse that we need to get on side. Last seen in Foss in March, but it jumped well enough that day, I thought, and I wanted it 1 for 3 over fences. The prices maybe not in yet, are they? Oh, 11 to 8 favourite. Yeah, we can put that in your multiples. And there's one other. I was going to go with Betty Ballou in Sedgefield, but the trip is right at that. But Easterby's horses are a bit cold this weather, so I put this one in instead. Art Power. This is a listed race. Now it has to give £5. It's a penalised £5 for winning the Renaissance stake in the Curragh. But it's 9 to 4. It's top rated. I think that there's a lot of speed. Fine Wine is speedy, and I think there's a lot of speed in the race, and it could give a nice little toe into Art Power there. It's a grand little sprinter. 9 to 4. Logo Hunter, of course, is the Irish horse. It's a pound well in actually at the ratings, because rate 110 getting £3 against 114. But the penalty that's causing that. So that's me for tomorrow. And finally, back to the Stig for his nap, each way selection, and his next best. His nap went in last week, and he tipped it up on the Friday at 2 to 1 and went off slight odds on field door. He was sweet on that. And the each way selection was 10 to 1 or 12 to 1 when he picked it last week, and it was second at 4 to 1. So Aldo would have he's gone into the leader board now, which I'll calculate these and I'll put them up some week. But he's ahead now at this stage with a win last week and a placed horse. And this week's selection for the bets is Peter Wood. He's in charge of he's the fire extinguisher officer on board the bus. Imagine a fire extinguisher officer called Peter Wood. What if he went on fire? You couldn't make it up, could you? So Peter, you're in charge next week or this week. So
my nap this week runs in the Drinmore on Sunday in the 155 in Fairyhouse, and it's going to be Mighty Potter, 5 to 1 each way. I think this horse will be a better chaser than a hurdler. Gordon Elliott absolutely loves this horse. He's a twice Grade 1 winner over hurdles. He got his second Grade 1 in Punchestown last year when he beat Sir Gerhard fairly easily, who was in third that day. And I think Gordon has always said that this horse is going to be a better chaser than hurdler. My next best is going to be a horse called Man at Work, and this horse was a horse that I actually put up a few weeks ago as a horse that caught my eye. This horse ran in a point-to-point where it fell at the last when it was only 7 lengths down, and it was behind Barry the Butcher in Crow Park. Now these two horses are seemingly going to be very, very good bumper horses and cost a pile of money. And this horse won on debut very impressively, beating the Skelton horse Grey Dawning. And he's been chucked into Grade 2 company in this Ballymore trial from the pipes. And I think this horse at 11 to 4 is good value. My last selection then, my each way selection, is going to be in the big handicap in the 305 in Fairyhouse on Sunday, and it's going to be a horse very similar to my last horse, except it's called Man O Work, and it's 14-1. And this horse ran in a big handicap in Listowel and was behind a horse called Prairie Dancer of Joseph O'Brien, who was rated 142. Now this horse is running off 129, and in that particular race in Listowel, I didn't think he got the best of rides, and the winner got away from him in the front and stayed on all the way into second from an unpromising position on the turn in. He's had a spin on the flat recently as well, so I think he's going to be fit and ready to go the weekend. And I think 14-1 each way off a mark of 129 gives him a good leeway to play with in this race.
So thanks for that, Stig, and the best of luck with your selections, and for Peter for the weekend. I'll be back next week again. I'll have a few selections for Saturday, no doubt. I'll be back on Friday evening, and I'm going racing the 2 days. I might stay, if anyone knows an Airbnb or anything, or because the hotels are booked out up the Fairyhouse direction, they have a comment, and I might stay overnight and go for a few pints, or otherwise I'll come home and go back up again on Sunday. So that's it for this week. From myself, Mickey D, and from the Stig, bash the bookies. Over and out.